Hello, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. As always, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today, we just have a bunch of questions from Instagram from a couple of weeks ago. So we're just gonna do a good old-fashioned Q&A, so let's just get right into it. Question number one, how long before your hamstring injury did you have surgery? So I got injured last September on September 1st, and then I had surgery on September 26th, so about 3.5 weeks later. I feel like the whole process happened in the blink of an eye, like everything happened so fast. I don't know about other injuries and surgeries, but with my particular injury, they recommend getting surgery if you're gonna opt to go the surgical route. They recommend doing it within 4 weeks because within that 4-week time frame, it's considered acute. After 4 weeks, then it's considered chronic. When it becomes chronic, there's usually more of a chance that there will be more scar tissue that they have to get through. So they recommend doing it under that 4-week time frame, and I just made it. I waited 3.5 weeks because the first couple of days was just getting to a doctor, getting the diagnosis, and then realizing like, oh shoot, I have to find a specialist. And the first surgeon that I saw, I did not like. I was like, there is no way that if I do go with the surgery that this man is operating on me. So then I had to find another surgeon, and thankfully the second one that I saw, I loved him. And then from there, it was just deciding to actually get the surgery and then doing the medical testing and all of that stuff. And like I said, I feel like it all went by like that. It all happened so quick, but there I was 3.5 weeks later, and I had actually had a lot of scar tissue form. I remember just waking up from surgery and hearing the surgeon talking to my husband and telling him that there was more scar tissue than expected. And that's probably why I started feeling pretty good before I went into surgery, but it's okay. All was well and everything went great. Question number two, do you plan to bring back your Jiu Jitsu instructional videos? Love those. Thank you. Yes, I've been thinking about that. I would like to bring them back for sure. I just feel like right now, because I've been out of consistent training for a pretty long time now. It's been 10 months since I've trained hard and trained consistently and attended class consistently. So I'm almost kind of dealing with a little bit of imposter syndrome in that aspect and just feeling inadequate to teach because I haven't trained in 10 months, so who am I to teach, you know what I mean? And I haven't trained and competed and rolled hard, so I just have this feeling of like, who am I to come up on YouTube and start showing people how to do movements when I haven't been doing them myself, you know? But yes, once I start training consistently again and I start really getting back into rolling, then I think absolutely I will bring back those instructional videos. Any tips to raise heart rate for competitions? Yes, I think that the best way to warm up, to get your body moving, to get your heart rate up before you go out there and compete is to do jiu-jitsu. All of the little warm-ups of stretching and jumping jacks and running in place and doing whatever, those are all fine and dandy and they will definitely get your body warmed up a little bit, but you're going out there to do jiu-jitsu. So the best way to warm up for that is to do jiu-jitsu. There's a couple of things that you will kind of experience once you go out there, right? The first thing is you're going from just standing there to going out on the mat, and the intensity just goes up just like that, right? So there is the potential situation of getting injured if your body's not properly warmed up and you get into a really intense activity really quickly. Getting a good roll in will help with that. Then there's also the experience of, I don't know if you guys have felt like this, but I certainly have, is that first match when you go out there is usually, I feel like, the hardest, right? It's like you always just want to get through that first one. And something that I always experience is like my lungs feel like they're on fire. And I think that just comes from the adrenaline and the nerves, and also my body probably not being properly warmed up. Getting a good roll in, getting a good sweat, getting out of breath before you actually go on the mat will help with that. Next question, starting out in jiu-jitsu, getting thrown into rolling, what is the best thing to try and focus on? Well, when you first start jiu-jitsu and you're just getting into rolling, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I've said this before, the first few months of jiu-jitsu is mainly just about surviving out there. Getting good at anything in particular is just, it's not gonna happen when you first start, and you're gonna go out there and you're gonna get beat up a lot. You are gonna be the nail 99.99999 100% of the time. Only until somebody comes on the mat who is newer than you will you start to become the hammer. And I'm talking like when you first start doing jiu-jitsu. Obviously, the more you do it, you can absolutely become more skilled and better than training partners that have been training longer than you. It all depends on the situation. So the main things that I would focus on when you first start rolling is 1, focus on what your professor taught in class, because you don't have a ton of tools in your back pocket. In the beginning, you only have whatever your coach is teaching that day, right? So focus on trying to get to that position. Focus on getting there as much as you can. It's probably going to be difficult to remember, and to be honest, when you first start, you're probably not going to really remember anything at all, but all you can do is your best. Really basic things that you can focus on is establishing good grips, getting into dominant positions, which is probably not going to happen. Mount, side control, back mount. Focus on your escapes. Getting really, really good at your defense is always going to come before getting really, really good at offense. But if you're literally just starting out and you have no idea what you're doing, just try your best to survive the rounds and try to get to the positions that your coach just taught in that same class. Are there any misconceptions about jiu-jitsu that you find annoying or even think are harmful? 2 things immediately come to mind. I think the first thing is that this idea of jiu-jitsu always being so wonderful and just rainbows all the time, and it's just the most magical place ever. Is it that the majority of the time? Yes, of course. That's why I made this channel, right? Because I want to try to convince everybody to do jiu-jitsu. But there's times where, like anything else, it's not always the best place in the whole entire world. You're gonna face struggles, and it's gonna be really difficult physically. It's gonna test you mentally and emotionally. It's gonna test your ego. You'll probably experience a lot of frustration in all different points of your journey. It's not easy, but that's what kind of makes it worth it. From a woman's perspective, there's a lot of struggles that we go through, because even though a lot more women are joining jiu-jitsu and competing at high levels, we are still in a very much male-dominated space. So when you first start training, that can be shocking. It can be a little overwhelming. Finding your place and feeling like you belong amongst your male peers and training partners can be difficult. But I'm still a firm believer that if you can get past the struggles and work through them, then jiu-jitsu is a really wonderful, amazing place to be every day. The second thing that comes to mind when I think about misconceptions in jiu-jitsu is the idea that all black belts are just amazing and the most wonderful people and they should be worshipped. That's just simply not the case. Just because you have a black belt around your waist does not make you a god. Having a black belt around your waist doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't mean that you are a good person. If you follow anything in the jiu-jitsu community, you've probably seen before that there are a lot of black belts out there that aren't good people. They might be amazing at jiu-jitsu. They might be very high-level competitors. They might have a very successful jiu-jitsu academy, but that doesn't mean that they treat people well. I'll always believe that somebody who has earned a black belt, the idea is that should be respected because that's an incredible thing to accomplish. But at the end of the day, a black belt is just like any other person. They could be a nasty person, they could not respect other people, they could treat certain people wrongly, and having that black belt around their waist doesn't take away any of that. It doesn't make them any better. How do you balance work, jiu-jitsu, marriage, and house chores? Do you and Todd go to the same classes? So first off, we actually do not attend the same school. I work at and train at Royal Jiu-Jitsu, and Todd runs Peak Jiu-Jitsu. Both schools are about an hour away from each other. They are on like completely different parts of Long Island. And it just worked out that way. I joined Royal during COVID, so I've been there now for just about 3 years. And I started working there not too long after I joined. Todd, on the other hand, he never officially signed up to be under Royal, to be under Mateus, who's my coach. He's good friends with Mateus. He knows probably the majority of people at Royal, but it was just never his place. Now, last year, when we moved out to Suffolk County, when we got married, he started training here and there at Peak Jiu-Jitsu, mainly because because he used to be good friends with John Sateva, who's the one who owns it. So Todd started training there. Then John also became one of Todd's clients. And in the fall time of 2022, John and his wife informed us that they were moving down to Texas to open a second jiu-jitsu school, and they wanted Todd to take over the one on Long Island. So that's how Todd ended up there, and I didn't want to leave Royal. I'm very invested there. We have a ton of girls there. I have my friends there. The training is amazing, and I just felt like I had an amazing opportunity to help teach there. And then on the other hand, Todd had an amazing opportunity to run a jiu-jitsu school under a guy that he really, really admires and respects. So yeah, our jiu-jitsu lives are completely different, but that's okay. It works for us. When Todd had more time, he would come over to Royal and pop in and get some training in. Once in a while, I would go over to Peak and train with my friends there. So it's really no big deal, and we're doing our own thing in jiu-jitsu and it works for us. It's fine. So now, how do we manage it all? Work, jiu-jitsu, marriage, house chores. This is something that I'm forever trying to figure out. Lately, I've been feeling like I've kind of been stretched thin a little bit because I have multiple jobs. Like there's multiple things that I do, right? So I work for Alchemized Fightwear, as most of you know. I work at my gym. I'm desperately trying to keep this YouTube channel up and running. And this year is my busiest year yet as a makeup artist. Todd is just as busy, if not busier. He has his functional patterns business and he runs Peak Jiu-Jitsu. He also does security. So we are both all over the place, I feel like, all the time. And I feel like I'm just forever trying to figure out how to balance it all. Lately, I've been feeling like I've been giving much more into certain things and I've been letting other things slide, and I kind of want to switch that around a little bit. So my love language, the first one at least, is quality time. So we do always make sure that on the weekends, like that is our time together. And of course there's weekends now where I'm traveling for makeup, or if he's doing important security jobs. Some days we take the time, whatever time we have, we take it. Most of the time though, we are able to get in some good quality time on the weekends and do fun things together, explore new places. We love going on different adventures all over the place. So again, it's all about balance. We are both still in the phase of hustling and building, but quality time to us is just as important. And building our marriage is more important than building our careers. How do we balance house chores? So I do all of the cooking, which is it's better that way. I make all of Todd's meals for the following day, so he has everything prepared because he leaves the house at like 5 o'clock in the morning and gets home at 10 o'clock at night. So he deserves to have good, healthy, nutritious meals all throughout the day so he doesn't have to worry about buying food. And I know there's people out there that just can't believe that a wife would make all of the meals for her man and make him lunch and breakfast, and then she's got to come home and make dinner and all this stuff. But honestly, the beauty of my work, at least during the day, is I'm home. So sometimes during the day I have the time to make the meals. If I don't, then when I get home from work at night, then I make them. And at the end of the day, I think it comes down to the kind of spouse that you have and the relationship that you have. And, I know that my man would do anything for me. Like I am spoiled. I do not hear the word no. And that's not the only reason that I want to make all of his meals, right? But my husband would do anything for me. There has never been a day in our relationship where that man has not shown me love. And just the longer that we're together, I see his growth as a person, as a man, as a husband, as a leader, as a provider. I got myself a good man. Thank you, Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I ended up with him. God is just too good to me. So long story short, the least that I could do as a wife is make his meals. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take a long time. The very least that I could do is make sure that he has healthy meals throughout his day. Garbage, I don't touch the garbage. It's a rule, it's a fact, it is something that we never spoke about, but it is what it is. I don't touch the garbage. I will leave it there. He knows. He just does it every day. He takes it out multiple times a day. it's his job. Laundry, we kind of do our own laundry nowadays. We have a really nice laundromat right down the road that we go to, so I kind of feel like whenever we both have the time, we just do it. When I was injured, he did all the laundry. Probably for a good like 8 months, he did all of our laundry. Cleaning, I'm kind of a clean freak, so I do most of the cleaning, which I don't mind. Grocery shopping, we love grocery shopping together. I think the key is to just find somebody that you love spending time with, and any little mundane errand just feels like something fun, you know? Like we love going grocery shopping and looking at all the cool stuff and buying new things. He also knows how much it means to me if the dishwasher is emptied. You know, it's like these little things that you learn in marriage and you learn with living with somebody else. Like, who knew that having the dishes emptied from the dishwasher would just make my day so much better, you know? I feel old. Like, I feel like an old adult. I feel like my parents. How did I get here? But a lot of times before he leaves really early in the morning, he'll empty the dishwasher from the night before, and he knows it makes me really happy to wake up and not have a bunch of dishes that I have to put away. And then the last thing that I'll kind of add on top of all that, if there's ever anything that, you know, little things maybe that like annoy me about him that he does around the house or vice versa, although nothing really annoys him, but we kind of just make a joke out of it. Like if he leaves the towel a certain way in the bathroom, or he does this thing where he always leaves the shower curtain open and it drives me insane, but we kind of just make a joke out of it. I don't know, household chores and errands and all the mundane things of daily life with, you know, living with your husband or wife, I think just aren't so bad if you just make light of everything and if you just genuinely enjoy being around that person. As a newbie, what are some no-goes? Using elbows, smothering someone's face, etc. I don't do those, but I don't know etiquette. Yeah, I mean, I would say just be aware of the person that you're training with. Something that I find is annoying, effective, say maybe in competition or like a really hard roll, but not always necessary, especially if the person is smaller and weaker than you, is using your elbows and digging them into your partner's hips if you're trying to get out a close guard, smothering somebody's face, putting your elbow or your forearm directly into somebody's throat. Again, if you know that maybe you both are training for a competition, if you know that you just have this one training partner that you just go hard with all the time, I mean, it's totally fine. Also in jiu-jitsu, something that we just don't do is like putting our palm right up against somebody's neck. Those are the main things that I can think of. If there's anything else that I missed, then let us know in the comments. So that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. If you ever have any other questions about anything, jiu-jitsu, health stuff, lifestyle, like whatever, DM me on Instagram. You can always leave a comment. Let me know. I appreciate you guys so much. And until the next video, I will see you guys next time.